Welcome to William Steele, True Crime and Steele a Spotlight Television, one of the most popular shows, in the Midwest area. Um, so here we are getting through holiday season, and we have a beautiful Christmas tree behind us. We're about to come on with Ignacio Esteban, my esteemed co-host, retired ATF agent, customs agent, almost 30 years, author of 80-something books. This guy is a top-notch, very, very serious um, former federal investigator, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. And so, Ignacio, we've been co-hosts probably over 2 years, and he brings to us a story about a very, very prominent figure in this true crime genre, a guy named Stephen Gillen. Now, who in the hell is Stephen Gillen, you might ask, especially for the American audience? But this show is going to take off in the UK, Britain, England, London, whatever you want to call it, because Sean Atwood, all the media out there, the tabloids all know who Stephen Gillen is. Stephen was, according to his own admissions and some records, was some kind of gangster in England, okay? Supposedly a turnaround story. He wants to compare himself to people like me, Sean Atwood, Michael Francesi. The problem is there's a swirling body of allegations against Stephen. We have proof that something doesn't smell right in Denmark and that Stephen Gillen may be and allegedly is swindling people that are trying to bring their stories to the big screen. So we know that there's investigators looking at this, there's attorneys looking at this. We know certain issues are being litigated in court, therefore we can talk about them, and we have proof, therefore we can talk about it. He has aligned himself with the likes of Liz Coppola. She's got a last name with a W. I can't think of it at the moment. And we previously did an expose about her, and we know her exact whereabouts right now. And for now, things have simmered down with that one. But I'm going to bring Ignacio on and let him tell his story, this horrific story of his dealings with Stephen Gillen, who's supposedly the darling of the London/United Kingdom, England, British media. And some other people and journalists and law enforcement and attorneys and courts are beginning to look into him in a very, very serious way. And so let me bring on my co-host. Now, don't forget, this guy was like 30 years federal agent, and somehow my mouse is not working to bring him over. So what do I do? It won't work. So I have an assistant here, and Paris is here, and we're gonna bring Ignacio on. You want to bring that one on first? There you go.
There we go, Bill. Here I am.
In a few minutes, we'll shift to this one. But Ignacio, thank you so much for joining us.
And yeah, Bill, we've been doing this for a while, and this is more of a personal matter. I know that you and I like to do shows on current events, true crime, politics, your background, my background, our books, etc. But this has to do with a business dealing that's been a little sour for me, that I've been involved with Stephen Gillen. You mentioned him, based on a screenplay based on my book, ATF Undercover, with me, that's called Take Down the King, right? And I didn't know much about him. I have to be honest, Bill. I know you talked a little about him. I found him through Facebook from mutual friends, and he says that he's rehabilitated. He has a production company. Yeah, that's the deck that was provided, and I'll talk about that part a little bit later. The company is called Roar Media Creative, right? RMC out of London. It's a LTD based on making productions and projects and what have you. Yeah, there it is out of there.
I'll throw that back up for you. Is that it right there? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I reached out to him through social media. We had contacted each other. We had sent emails, and I told him what I was interested in doing. I wanted to do a screenplay based on my book, my life experience, right? And I was new to this. This is now we're talking about the summer of 2022, right? A little over 2 years ago. So we go back and forth. And the original contract he sends me, I wasn't too happy with. It was very template, very kind of racing. And again, I saw his background, and I was a little hesitant, I'll be honest with you. But then I looked what he's done. He said, well, he's got all these awards. Man, he got Peace Person of the Year. He did this, he did that. He had a very successful book based on his life. Make it into a movie. He's done a lot of shows online. He's been associated with these different projects. I said, okay, maybe this guy's turning around. I was a little hesitant based on my background, but he knew my background. He knew I was retired law enforcement. He knew I was ATF, which is those who don't know, Department of Justice. They knew I was an investigator. I did undercover work. I've been in law enforcement 26 years. So he knew all that, Bill, my background. So I decided to get an attorney. I discussed it with my wife. Said, let me get an attorney here because it was a boilerplate contract. And I noticed in there was no timeline when all these things were going to get done. And that to me was problematic. And there's other things I didn't like. It was very generic. So I said, let me go through an attorney. So of course, when you do that, that's more money. But you know what? It's worth the investment to make sure I'm protected because this is the contract. And I had it with, you can see it right here.
That's
RMC.
RMC. So that's his official branding.
And then I have the contract here. It's about 6 pages. And this we'll go back and forth. And I'm going to have read this. But the final page, we both sign it. You see his name there?
Yep, we see it. Look. You could hold it up a little higher if you want. That's fine. See the signatures? Got it.
So it's signed, certified. We had attorneys involved. He had his attorneys. I had my attorneys. This is a legit business dealing, right? This is not some verbal agreement here. This is something we agreed to.
Additionally, I want to point out, I think you just briefly mentioned it. I have this clip from when you actually were on his show.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a second. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, sort of developing a relationship with him because I know you do a lot of shows.
Yeah. So, and that was part of the agreement also. It wasn't just provide me a professional writer, and he did, to do the screenplay with me. So I paid about a little over 10,000 British pounds, right? 10,000 British pounds is over $12,000 for not only to provide me a writer, not only to collaborate to do the screenplay, but also do the pitch in the deck and to use, and this is the words in here. I'm going to read from the contract. It says, a service provider, which is Stephen Gillen and RMC, will complete a pitch deck to industry high standards, which I don't think it is, level, and engage with studios, production teams, investors, and plan in-house co-production of project and route to market. All that last part right there, that's part of the end of part of the deck there. And I don't know who the other person in there who has executive producer there didn't go. And it clearly has it in the contract, Bill, to have a timeline of 9 months total, the maximum 9 months to do it. So we signed this in the summer, July. All of this should have been done by April of 2023.
Wow.
I did get, I did get the script done, which was, I thought was decent. The script was done for a pilot to do a series, Take Down the King, which is based on my life infiltrating gangs in Central Florida. And of course, dealing with the drama that has to do with my character, me, drama dealing with my family, drama with the bad guys, the gang members, the violence. I think it would make a phenomenal series, Take Down the King. But then I've also written, I've used in the software Final Draft, and I also did my own personal called Broken Crowns and others. So I can separate the two.
I agree. I know that I can vouch for Ignacio. We've been co-hosting together about 2 years now. Yeah. And he's written over 80 some odd books on law enforcement, crime prevention, ins and outs of ATF and big cases that you see in the media. He's also written a foreword for my most recent book, which is the heist, Vault Heist, Million Stolen. So I know his stories and I know the cases he's been involved with in and out. And I was a law clerk when I was incarcerated, so I know the legal aspect of it and the other side of the coin. And I'm a big supporter of the Blue at this stage in life. And this story and his needs to come to the big screen. It needs to be a drama series. It can have longevity. So this is my way of pitching it to people I know, and I'm also going to do what I can. It seems like the History Channel has picked you up.
Yeah, I did it with Gangland Chronicles. Yeah, hopefully I'll be coming out soon too, talking about MS-13, Bloods and Crips. Let me read you another paragraph here, Bill, from the contract.
So Ignacio and I both have reality TV shows that we're involved with. Him on History Channel, me on A&E Network, and on Hulu, Inmate to Roommate, which I'll throw the logos up later. But so we both know what the hell we're talking about here. So
yeah, this is also part of the contract here. So it wasn't just paying to have it promoted. But he also threw in here as he's a service provider, he agrees to support, promote, collaborate with me to elevate my work and profile in alignment with current projects and agreements. Part of the agreement was he wanted to do a 3-part series with me on his channel, the Stephen Gillen Crime Files. He says here, a worldwide channel, which is, if you're on YouTube, anything's worldwide, right? If you're online, that's www, right? It's www, right? So that's everything's worldwide when you're on YouTube.
In this day and age, it's a meaningless boast, but I understand why people do it.
Yeah, mitigating on a major platform towards a billion audience. I'm not sure about that number, but that's what he puts in there, and how also available on every other Android device. So we did one show.
A billion audience. That means he's gonna have somebody from the royal family step in and get down with you on these shows, because those are about the only people on the planet that get billions of views. In fact, Samantha Markle, Meghan Markle's sister, is a dear friend of mine. Yeah, and her family, yep, she's suing Meghan right now, but Samantha's a dear friend. She's been on with us before.
Yeah.
And God bless her. But so her sister and that side of the family, the royal family, get views in the billions. So Stephen Gillen's telling you he's basically guaranteeing views in the billions.
Potentially.
The caveat, potentially.
Yeah, potentially. But my point is, he said a 3-part series. We only did 1. And every time I asked him about, hey, when are we doing the next one? He said, oh, I'm setting up for this date, and something always come up, can't do it. And then once he got all his money that he wanted, because I paid half up front pretty much when we did the script, we brought in a good writer. His name is Toby Osborne. He's from Toronto, Canadian. We collaborated with this. Took us a few weeks. We did a good pilot. He helped part of that process. And then he got the pressure in. He started pressuring me, hey, pay me the rest so we can get we can strike, his words, we can strike while it's still hot, Iggy. We can, like he calls me Iggy. We can strike while it's still hot with his British accent. And he said, we're going forward. We're going to move forward here quickly. And I do the pitch in the deck, and then I start contacting my people. Like I said before, the reason why I signed it wasn't just to do his shows there, which is fine. I've been doing a lot of them, but it was for his contacts with studio production teams, investors, and plan. He also did in-house co-productions, which he wanted to do on this project. None of that happened. I was lucky enough to get that deck, which I think is awful, in April. That was the end of the deadline for the 9 months. That I got, but everything else after that, it was crickets. After that, Bill, it was excuses after excuse. When, like this time of year, when I said, when it was 2022 and it's coming down, I said, why aren't we working now in January, December? I said, oh, no. He was on vacation, or French Riviera, or he's in Cyprus, or wherever they're traveling. And there's always an excuse why, no one works this time of year. Oh, really? Okay, so now what's going on? Oh, you got to understand, we have to do it at the right time. We have a contract here. When is the right time?
And he's the one that told you, let's strike while it's hot.
Yeah, give me the money. And once he got what he had, then it's like he put the chill on it. And it wasn't like as important, or he didn't care for it. He didn't care to finish the series. He didn't care to promote this. And we had a revenue sharing agreement on this too, Bill.
Let me chime in here. So
he didn't care.
Mary, my fiance, is highly educated. She got into UC Berkeley at 15 years old. She's a certified civilian fraud examiner. She knows fraud. She's built racketeering cases. She is a forensic accountant. She's an expert at nonprofits. She's raised venture capital in Silicon Valley. She writes pitch decks. She writes books. She writes screenplays.
What was her take on it?
In my case, I write books and edit other people's books, and I have screenplays written already.
Yeah.
When we read this pitch deck, we felt it was almost, your story is phenomenal. It was almost like a child or an amateur wrote it, because there was so many typos and run-on sentences. I don't know. And then plus, it looks like they did in this country anyway. I don't know how bad England is, but it would be copyright infringement to use the images from Sons of Anarchy on your story. I mean, did he have permission?
Not just Sons of Anarchy. All these different actors too. I mean, he had Stallone in there. He had other famous actors, Penelope Cruz in there. And I told him, these are people in their 30s, right? Because we're doing things back when I was my 30s, 40s. What do you have? Stallone's like in the 70s. Penelope is in her 50s. I mean, you have all these old actors. They're outdated. And they kind of laughed it off a little bit, and using their pictures. I own this product. So those watching say, I own the script. I own the IP for all this stuff. And I wouldn't want to use this because it's not a good product. So what I did, I mentioned before, after this, I started writing, I got some advice. I got Final Drafts, a software to write screenplays, which makes it really easy and simple. And I started doing that with other ones. And the other one's called Broken Crowns. We also have merchandise. I think you have it too on Printify. You can go to Printify and check it out. ATF Undercover Ink. Check me out and check out the products and check yours out there also. But that's what I started doing, because I wouldn't have paid that amount of money for someone to do the garbage they did and then hide over there. And my attorney said he was also in violation. She helped write the contract, rewrite it, didn't like it, said this was garbage. He agreed to it. The times, he didn't have the times. And then once we had the timeline in their deadlines, you need deadlines, because if you don't have deadlines, you can say, oh, I'll be done 3 or 4 years. Oh yeah, it'll never happen. So I felt almost fortunate that I was at least able to scrap something, but he didn't do the part which I wanted, which was to promote it for his contacts, to make this into production, do it in-house, do something, get this done. I was getting nothing out of that, zero out of that.
I want to point out something else. He uses these images of celebrities on your product, which if you sign off on, it maybe look like you're scamming somebody by saying, I've involved these celebrities. They're part of supporting me in this project. When shout out to these celebrities. We love you and your body of work, but Ignacio did not allow for that to happen. And he's complained about it too. Stephen Gillen, who seems to always use some celebrity that knows nothing about him to promote products. Now, I'm not going to roll into it just yet, but I'm going to touch on it. He's promoting Flowcoin.
Stephen Gillen, yes.
Flowcoin is a crypto. Now, Flowcoin, FLOW, is a legitimate company crypto as far as we know.
Yes.
The one he's promoting, Flow, FLO coin, he puts
Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum.
A Florida native.
An American treasure, according to Mary. She's right here. He uses his image to promote it. Best we can tell, and the outreach we've done to him, his people, his management, he knows nothing about it. So, Mr. Tatum, we admire your body of work. My fiance is a fan. If you would contact us, you're more than welcome to comment in. If you're supporting Stephen Gillen, former gangster from London, who's using your image to promote his Flow coin, FLO coin. So we're going to get into that in a minute, because Mary's got a ton of information about that and how the government in Britain is going after his companies and has them in a status basically trying to disband his companies.
Allegedly going into, right? That's information
we have the documents from today.
Okay. So finishing my point there, Bill, about the contract here, that doesn't sit well with me. Look, we're looking almost 2025. The year is almost over. I started this process with him in July 2022, and he's done what after, even with my attorney, I paid more money to reach out to him with letters, with saying, hey, let's do this. Pay back half of it, because we got the script and we worked with this, but you didn't do the other part. The pitch, the deck was not good. And I had other people look at it, none of you guys, and everyone said the same thing. And on top of that, he said, you did not promote it. You did not do any contact. You didn't tell me what's going on. We have an agreement. And he didn't also like that I wanted to be executive producer on the project. It's my project. Of course I'm going to be executive producer on it. And he was telling me, oh, I don't think that's a good idea. He wanted to be sole executive producer with this other guy that's mentioned there, which I don't know him. I know you had mentioned his name earlier, was on there. I don't know who he is. And that didn't sit well with me either. So I think it was a combination of many things. He decided to just say whatever. He said, oh, it's yours. You can do whatever you want. No, that wasn't the point. I wouldn't have paid you that amount of money if it was just for a screenplay, right? For a pilot screenplay, I would maybe have paid $1,500, $2,000. There's no way I'm paying $12,000 bill for any of this. It would not go that way. So even with that, he denies the whole thing with my attorney about the timeline, about this, about that, and it's like crickets, silence. And I said, I wouldn't tell anybody that's looking to work with Stephen Gillen, anybody who's worked having the same issues with him, please reach out to me and on Facebook, Ignacio Esteban. You can find me on Facebook, Ignacio Esteban, right there. LinkedIn, also you can reach out to me, and we can discuss this more and further. We have my attorney involved. It's kind of laid low for a little bit. Or anybody else who's thinking about working with Stephen Gillen, I wouldn't do, especially a project like this. I wouldn't do it because of the headaches that's gone through it, and he's very unprofessional at that. First, he starts very nice and friendly. That I've been rehabilitated. He tells his whole story about being involved. He did 17 years incarceration for violent crimes. Right? He was involved in bank heists. He was involved in a shooting with police that led to one of them being shot. I mean, this is serious stuff right there. That's Stephen Gillen right there. He grew up, I guess, in Belfast on the times when there was trouble between the Catholics and the Protestants out there, getting ugly the situation, and he has all that experience in him. That they even called him the gangster, the mobster of London, right? The gang boss of London because of all his stuff he was involved in. So, but I took my time because everything else I saw, I gave him a chance, and I seeing this. I don't know. I think this is a scam, Bill, because also involved. This is important too. Also involved with this. When you have this is almost like a wire fraud because we have a contract, right? You're saying this is what you agree upon. You don't do it. This is a scam. This is a scam because no way anybody in the right mind would pay that much more for a script.
And the people he's aligned himself with now, Liz Coppola, Mother Courage, a psychic. We did an expose on her, a scathing expose with proof. And basically, she put something up on the internet after that, like, oh, well, I don't care. Ask me if I care. But so we have, to my knowledge, have not had any more contact with her. But she's been exposed, and with the strong allegations all around her. And he's strongly aligned with Liz Coppola. Now, in my case, I literally have more fans than anybody I get involved with at this stage. I have a mainstream reality TV show that became the second highest rated in the country. I have all views combined just on TikTok, over 40 million, all views combined on YouTube, not just on my shows, on other shows I've been on, added up, exceeding 5 million at this point. He doesn't have that many fans, not even close. Yet at the beginning of this journey, when he knew what I was doing, knew I was starting out, knew I just got out of prison, he wanted me on his show, but then he wanted to charge me to come on the show.
Yeah.
Very arrogant, not about helping anybody. It was all about, what kind of few pennies could he extract from some guy like me who was just trying to get on his feet after incarceration. Well, I blew up while he's currently allegedly under investigation. And I'm doing just fine. I bump heads with some powerful people because I tell the truth about them. But guess what? I'm backed up by attorneys, the truth, documents, and historical stuff. People like Stephen Gillen, and I hope none of this turns out to be true when he comes through, refunds your money with interest, have some nerve to treat me the way he did, align himself with people who have been exposed already as being highly allegedly slanderous and scandalous and all kinds of issues, and then has the nerve to evidently rip off a retired federal agent in this country.
That's awful.
What he's doing, we have brought criminals back from overseas for committing racketeering and wire fraud back into this country. We grab them, we work out deals with their countries, bring them back here to be prosecuted. So like you said, it's wire fraud, it's racketeering. You're a retired federal agent. I'm not even going to imagine behind the scenes the amount of people you still know if this
and people I've been talking to and saying that this is, we had a contract. That's why I had my attorney involved. We did it by the book. Like you said, we have the contract. You can see it here. We signed it. It's like 6-7 pages here. We had to make adjustments. Like I said, it was a boilerplate what I got originally, and I didn't like it. So it's important to have timelines that this has to be done. It says it clearly 9 months. If you didn't want to do it, then reimburse my money. And that you didn't want to do the shows either. We only did one show. I put it out there. One show we did, and we're supposed to do 3. It's supposed to be a 3-part series. And every time I wanted to do it, he blew me off. Didn't want to do it. And look at it. We're in 2025. It's a frustrating situation to deal with him. If you're looking to do work with Stephen Gillen, I would not do it. I would not do it. And I did not like also dealing with Daphne DeLucci, which I think is his girlfriend / maybe wife now. I'm not sure. But she was also very prominent in RMC, Roar Media Group, creative. And she was involved with the process with the deck and the pitch and all that. And like a lot of people said, they don't think it was a good product. I don't think at the end it was a good product. In my opinion, I think it'd been a lot better for what I paid for. It should have been a lot better. And I don't like them using pictures. And they can say whatever they want about all these pictures. We can do this, still. No, you can't, because it's not yours to use. And then I'm buying this. You have to have permission. I need original work. I'm paying for original work to be done that I'm going to use.
And it gives the the nefarious impression that you have all these A-list celebrities that know everybody backing your play, backing your projects, and at this stage
And
you do have a
yeah,
lot of support, but not from the people that he's putting on there. Not
no.
only that, I want to do a shout out right now. If you think you're a victim or suspect that you've been victimized by Stephen Gillen since he's been out of prison in any way, shape, or form, entering into contracts with him, some of the people surrounding him, like Ignacio, we want you to contact us. My contact information is in the description. You can go to my website, williamsteeleauthor.com and drmarybass.com at iCloud.
Yeah, reach me out on Facebook. We can still collaborate more to try to get some more money back. And I have an attorney involved.
Exactly.
We can still do a lot more things.
And if this goes down, one day, and we hope it doesn't, we hope this man is really just maybe overwhelmed and stuff like that. But it seems like he's been ducking you for a long time. So I don't believe that this is not intentional at this stage. That's my opinion. I'm entitled to it. We don't want to see somebody.
That's my opinion too, Bill.
Right. We don't want to see somebody who has my background, essentially, who's been in prison, and then telling the world he's a turnaround story. Because you know what, Stephen Gillen, you give guys like me a bad name because everybody's waiting for me to fail. When I go after people, they make false allegations. So I've had it before. So you have real allegations against you right now. I would suggest you start straightening them out and making good with Ignacio and the other ones. So I want to roll into something else because she's ready to go.
Okay, let's do it.
He's been connected to an allegedly fraudulent Bitcoin. We don't know for sure that it is, but it sure looks like it is. Mary, my fiance, forensic accountant, data scientist, is going to give you her findings with documentary proof.
I gotta go.
All right, she's letting me know what she wants on the screen here. She's off camera because she didn't expect to come on today, but everybody knows who Mary is. We do wrongful conviction Wednesdays. We help people that are wrongfully convicted, including David Michael Reinhardt and Soledad, and we're hoping to collaborate with Kim Kardashian on that case.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Slow coin?
Yes.
Okay. So she's going to tell you what this image means.
All right. So when I started first looking into Stephen Gillen, his known associate is Liz Coppola, which was, pause for concern. But, then again, I know a lot of colorful people myself. I don't know any fake psychics. So my apologies. I was very curious.
In my opinion, they're all fake. That's my opinion. I'm entitled to it.
I didn't say I know any real ones either. I was, being ambiguous there. So Stephen Gillen purportedly is going to be the philanthropic wonderkin of this flow coin foolery. Now, I know real crypto from the scam side of things. I'm 1,000 years old. I don't think this will get me in any trouble at this point. Oh, well, I'm 1,000 years old anyway. When the first white paper was written about Bitcoin, which was written under a pseudonym. Back then it was just called Satoshi's Bitcoin. I was very much on the scene with that, very curious. I'm very knowledgeable about blockchain. I'm not just some hipster saying this. I'm literally 1,000 years old. I've been using binary coding since I was 6 years old, which was 100 years ago. I'm very, very into a lot of tech type of things, not just the forensic accounting. So I thought, all right, Flowcoin, let's see what you are and what you are not. You are not Flow with a W coin, which is, although not a high value crypto at this point in time, is something legitimate. There, so I'm not endorsing it or not. I'm just putting that out there. Flowcoin, as an FLO coin that Stephen is backing. I did my homework on this as much as I could because they're giving really limited information. I should probably also disclose that years ago I did work on a secure social media encrypted crypto startup, which it was successful. We sold it, so it came to its end stage there. So I'm really very connected to these matters. And I wouldn't say something is bogus if it had even a shred of legitimacy. I'd be very careful. But I can tell you this purported crypto that Stephen Gillen is purportedly endorsing it's bogus. It's a scam. I'll put my reputation on the line on this one. And yeah, so he's the brand ambassador for it. There used to be available a 15-page white paper that touted Flowcoin as being, oh gosh, the future of financial transactions. That was their claim. It was also purportedly based in Monaco. I was not able to locate anything in or near Monaco concerning this alleged entity.
This guy has some aspirations, doesn't he?
He wants to go from being a
How long has he been the ambassador to Flowcoin?
pardon?
How long has he been the ambassador to Flowcoin?
He announced it on 12/27 of 2023.
Oh wow, almost a year now. Okay.
Yes, so he's had time to either walk this back,
Yep.
or, make it happen, shut it down, something. So they pulled their white paper down off their website. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
And it was just so schemy. And I've written a lot of white papers and I read a lot of them. And they typically are dry reading, but they're going to be detailed. And in the Flowcoin white paper, no team members were named. The founder isn't named. The developers on the tech side were nameless. And if you're not up to something bad, especially in this day and age, when people are becoming more familiar with blockchain technology, cryptocurrency, there's no reason not to use your name. I mean, I probably would have settled for a pseudonym, just anything. Humor me, put a placeholder, but it's such an overt fraud.
Wow.
So my feelings are that Stephen Gillen thinks he's slick and wants to transition from having been more of a brute, shall we say, in his younger years to being what I just collectively call a white collar crook type.
You do see that a lot, Mary. You do see some of these guys, violent criminals, who transition to this white collar, and they think they can game the system, and that they come across the wrong people. They're not going to be gamed. That's for sure.
No, they think wrong on that, and and I think in his case, perhaps this was a speculative thing here, but perhaps he parlays his past as this gun-toting bank robber, English lobster type. Which
he tries to glamorize that. You're right. He tries to glamorize that kind of background.
I'd like to say something, interject if I may, Mary, just for a second. So I did some research on this morning, and I'm going to read it directly from my research. And again, some of these things with AI and Google are inaccurate, but so we're going to put this out there. So the other one, Flowcoin with a W, has a valuation in the billions, right? It's doing relatively well. It's legit. Seems to be legit. I don't endorse it. Seems to be legit. Flowcoin, that Stephen Gillen is associated with, it says it's also referred to as Florin Coin, FLO, cryptocurrency, originally developed. Is trading at approximately, because I asked the value of each coin. So I don't even know how low this number is because I'm not an accountant like this one here, right? I'm more of a street guy and a law clerk, right? So it has the dollar sign with a zero and the period, right? The decimal point, followed by 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros, 4160. So
it's penny. It's fractions. Yeah, it's worth fractions. It's nothing.
It's less than a penny a coin, probably.
Yes.
Not even.
Right.
So with a market cap, listen to this. The other one was in the billions. This market cap is $1,446.
Yeah.
And that would have been from their initial pre-sale phase, which was their hurry up and buy. It's a limited time only type of deal they ran earlier this year. I figured they didn't raise much capital. I think I told you that, Bill. I said
yeah. So, Mary, how do you see this as? You see this as a scam?
Definitely, absolutely. Flowcoin, yes, scam. Also, he crossed the line when he brought Channing Tatum into this because Channing Tatum fans are all nuts. Fact is all.
What's his name again? What's his name?
Channing Tatum.
I'll read what I found on the research between Stephen Gillen's and Channing Tatum's, the A-list actor, connection to Flowcoin, like Stephen Gillen puts out there. The response I'm getting after multiple searches is, what are their roles and involvement with this? It says, there's no credible information at all linking Stephen Gillen or Channing Tatum to Flowcoin. What's going on?
They didn't need to besmirch him in all of this. But
So
so
so that was saying he's not associated with this coin now.
I would,
He's endorsing it and bringing in the celebrity image like he did with you, putting
Right.
an A-lister to
But
pretend
really, he's not
whoever.
tied to it. I don't know. That's kind of weird.
Some of the stuff you found said he's promoting it or something, or he's involved with promoting it, or he's a philanthropist. And they're all based in Monaco. And give me a break, man.
No, if it were really in Monaco, I'd find
He
it.
likes the French Riviera, that's for sure.
Yeah, well,
Monaco is one of the smallest countries in the world. It's one of the wealthiest, most affluent.
Yeah, I like Monaco. They have beautiful races, nice tournaments. I like Monaco. That's for sure.
You've been there?
I've been close, but not Monaco itself. But I've seen it a lot on television. That's for sure.
This guy, yeah. I watched Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous years ago. Unfortunate if I can get out of South Florida and New York City.
They do have a famous, I'm a big tennis guy. They do have a very famous tennis tournament every year in Monaco and Monte Carlo, which I love watching every year. And they have the beautiful car races too. I mean, if you like Formula One racing, you definitely know Monte Carlo. That's for sure.
Very famous A-list actress married into the royal family there, Grace Kelly.
That's right. That's right. Horrible. We can get off topic later about this, but
let Mary get more into what her research. Go ahead, babe.
Oh, okay.
Well, just real quickly, I believe that Flowcoin sponsored I don't know if it was a Formula One car. I think it might have been for a race in Monaco a while back, because the car looked like it had a wrap, one of those vinyl wraps on it with their branding. But I think that's probably the extent of the promotion that was done for it. But it's just, if anyone did fall for it and buy into it, I'm very sorry. This really, gets my goat, because when I was working on the crypto and secured social media project combo that I was working on, we took, our mission very seriously with what we were trying to accomplish, and we were held to quite a lot of scrutiny, but in the end we turned out something very good and legitimate, and I'm very proud of it.
So you have to be careful.
Gillen, messing around. And I want to talk a little bit about his current business dealings, if that's all right.
Listen to this. This is right along the lines of what you're going through with him.
So now, I'm not an attorney. So I'll say this, though, in my personal opinion and my professional opinion, I would say that if anyone currently has dealings with Stephen Gillen, and they're having some difficulty with him, particularly if it has to do with Roar Media, I would say that time is of the essence on getting indemnified for your losses. And I'm not usually one to push or rush these type of matters. If anything, I would, typically slow play something like this and see where it goes and things like that. But the problem becomes that June 24th of this year, Stephen Gillen and Daphne DeLucci, so they're the two directors of Roar Media Creative, they
I've dealt with both of them.
They filed a voluntary application to strike off Roar Media Creative. So a strike off is something that's done in the UK. If I had to compare it to something stateside, I'd say it would be similar to dissolving your corporation or your LLC voluntarily. And so they filed an application to strike off. And then typically, if those aren't objected to, I think it's within 2 months or so, then the government will allow them to close down the company. However, theirs has been objected to. Typically, objections are going to come from litigants, creditors. If it was a bigger company, there'd be stakeholders involved. But so pretty much any interested parties interjecting. So they're not getting their way with cutting and running from Roar Media Creative.
Yeah, they have a lot of issues. I think this is why I like bringing this to attention. That way, if anybody in the British government wants to reach out to me, please feel free to reach out to me. Also, Scotland Yard investigations, whoever's looking at it, because I'm obviously Department of Justice, retired. I have the contract, I have emails with this guy, his persona, what he presents, and what happens. I think it's wrong. If he does this to a retired DOJ investigator, He'll do it to anybody. He'll take advantage.
Department of Justice, which is Ignacio right there, right on my screen.
If he's doing that to me, the guy has a pair of, you know what, Bill, and that's wrong what he's doing. He hasn't changed because, and I sat and said, what a fraud, because you're doing this knowing I signed for your contacts, promotions to get this project in-house production, not to get me a screenplay. I do that myself. I'm a writer, and you knew I was a writer. I've been writing quite a bit there, and I've been writing my own. I wouldn't pay for that. I do it myself and have my own contacts. I was paying for your contacts, Stephen. If you're watching, I was paying for your contacts to get this project promoted, to do it a certain way, not to blow me off and lie to me, not to do the series. 3-part series. We did 1. It's in black and white. We had a timeline, and you did not do it. So if you're watching, folks, do not do business with Stephen Gillen.
And if you're a victim or alleged victim of Stephen Gillen, reach out to us immediately, or the authorities in your country and our country. And I will put this out there. You know, I was a law clerk when I was incarcerated for many years, and I followed true crime and crime prevention matters and legal matters for many years. And I do know that our country, there's no escaping the justice in our country. So even we've taken people back from other countries who are not even citizens of our country, who've never set foot in our country, and brought them back here to be prosecuted. Why? Because there's treaties for extradition that exist. And you know what? Even if this is ever prosecuted, or the other people that he's allegedly swindles is prosecuted, and this man's a global traveler now, okay? There'll be a red notice put up, and Interpol will pick you up at any airport where you travel. Yeah. So if you don't even know sometimes that you're secretly indicted, you may get off the plane in Canada, you may get off the plane in the United States, South America, other parts of Europe. You know, I don't know if Monaco has an airport. I think France you'd have to fly. But whatever it is, you may get off somewhere where there's the extradition treaty and where there's Interpol.
And they'll snatch him. They'll get him. He can't hide.
They will grab you and bring you back to the United States. So if this is all accurate, and I believe Ignacio, and I believe that the court filings speak for themselves, I would straighten your matters out with Ignacio, and I would straighten your matters out, because I have no skin in the game other than Ignacio is my co-host and has become a friend. He's a sincere guy with a gigantic story to tell, and he wants to get that out there, move on with life, do shows. He enjoys doing what he's doing. He enjoys crime prevention. He's got a family to support, as do we all, and doesn't appreciate the fact that he's trusted somebody with my sort of background who looks like he probably swindled him.
Bill, a lot worse in your background. Bill, a lot worse in your background.
A lot worse. So he's the violent guy and all this. So I'll tell you what, Stephen, you're giving guys like me a bad name, because the whole society is waiting for us to screw up. Okay.
Yeah, and that's what he's done. And he's getting awards. But Bill, he also wrote a best-selling book that's been made into a movie, right? So when it comes to being to his project and his promotions, he's all over it. When he's taking money to promote someone else's project, he like pushes to the side. It's like I kept on watching him promote himself over on the BBC, on Canada. He would travel the globe promoting his book. Hey, listen, I paid you money. What are you doing about my stuff other than blowing it off, not doing our series? Nope, that's done. 3-part series wasn't done. You didn't do what you're supposed to do with my project. You're not keeping me posted what you're supposed to be doing. And then all of a sudden, it's dead in the water, and they have to get my attorney involved. And then you're saying, oh, there's no timeline. This isn't. No, it is in black and white. We have to readjust the contract, and that you signed that. You signed to it, Stephen. You see it, right, Bill?
Right. Now, I will say this. I'm a shameless self-promoter myself. Plus, I have a public relations firm that I'm starting up now, Steal the Spotlight, and another cable show, Steal the Spotlight. And I was just offered another reality show on top of the one I have on A&E and Hulu. And I'll be in Silent Partner streaming next month. I shamelessly self-promote, but you know what I always do? And I, some people next to me hate the word always, but what I do a high percentage of the time, if I'm on a show without you, Ignacio, and my other co-hosts, Frank Lordy, Louis B., former Mafia detective, Samantha Markle, Tommy, I mention on virtually everything else I do, hey, I'm doing shows with these guys also. Check them out. Check out our shows. So it doesn't take him anything but 10 seconds to at least mention he's collaborating with you on projects going forward.
Oh, he's not doing that. He's not doing that. He's not doing that at all. And so, folks, if anybody who's watching who's interested in this, who likes to want to see more about Take Down the King, or like I said, I wrote Broken Crowns. This is based on my life. I changed that one different than the one I did with Toby Osborne. We collaborated together. Stephen was part of that process. But then, like I said, once he got the money, it was over. Stephen, what are we doing next? What's next? And then when I mentioned, no, I am going to be executive producer on this with you, he did not like that at all. And it was like sour. Sour. Done.
Now
So, you can't be exec producer with us. Why not? This is my idea, my product, what I'm putting together. Yes, I am going to be executive producer. You're not going to cut me out being executive producer on this. And they said, well, you can take it on. That's not what we signed about. And if that's the case, return my money.
With interest. Listen, so I want to say this, and so I know he thinks it's going to be impossible for you to litigate across the pond. We know that it's not. We know you have legal action going on. We're not going to talk about back channel things that may or may not be going on. I will say this: Mary has more to add. She's got an image to throw up on the screen.
Okay.
So this is the application to strike off, which was submitted by Stephen Gillen and Daphne DeLucci in June of this year. So they're voluntarily wanting Roar Media Creative to be dissolved.
No.
And then there was an objection filed to that, disallowing it's probably from a creditor or someone with whom they're in litigation with. But the fact that they signed this document and submitted it, they're purporting that they don't have those sort of issues, as though no one's owed money or disgruntled, or, these.
No, we are. There are people they are.
So I think they're trying to hustle their own government. They need to watch out. And I'll say this.
That's a fraud on the court.
Stephen Gillen, you may be a British gangster, allegedly, so on and so forth. But I, a non-law enforcement person, with the most badass forensic accountant that has ever lived thus far, have personally gone up against the CCP and the Mujahideen. So,
nice.
If you want to step me, get ready.
Get ready. She's ready to. She don't. Mary doesn't play. I don't play. Bill doesn't play. And we're ready. And we're ready because we got the facts on our side, and it's true. We got it in writing. We had an attorney. And be a person of your word. When you say you're going to do something, do it. Don't try to swindle and hustle people out of money and think it's okay. And Bill, you've had that experience with Liz Coppola and everything else going on there, tied with her. Birds of a feather flock together. Birds of a feather flock together.
And I will add this, let me put the image of us, just because Mary is a member of the team. We do wrongful conviction Wednesdays with me, you right here. And then the team, we have another image. Guy, put that up.
That's
so, Kim's not present there. We edited her in, and, so she's, there's only 3 reality stars in this country in the field of wrongful conviction, helping people who are wrongfully convicted. I'm just getting there, but I was a law clerk for almost 18 years in 3 different states. Mary's been doing it before I got released from prison. Here's my show real quick, because I didn't put it on the screen earlier. And didn't we have another one with the whole team on there, or is that just on the photograph?
On there.
All right. Let me put Mary up here.
There we go.
There you go. So there's Mary in the middle, Stephen. And I'll tell you what, I don't fear anybody. We don't condone violence. So Mary is very good at what she does. Listen, we're prepared. So
if anybody in the British media would like to talk to me or Bill, we'd be more happy to talk to you about our experience, what happened. Anybody, British investigators, obviously I'm retired law enforcement, 26 years. It's wrong what you did. That's hard-earned money. I gave it to you in good faith. You were supposed to comply with the contract, finish promoting the project. That's the whole idea. Not me just getting a screenplay. I do that myself. I did not need you for that. I was paying for a 3-part series with your contacts to get this to the next level, and we had a revenue sharing agreement. For that, I would have said no, thank you. And one other thing there, he's always trying to nickel and dime me some more money with this woman, Daphne DeLucci, always saying, hey, to market this better, we may have to pay me more for this. And then he wanted me to pay more for Toby Osborne. I said, no, the contract agreed you provide a writer. I was not going to pay you more money. And then he had to backtrack. He was giving me a hard time for that. I said, no, it's in the contract. I am not paying you 1 more cent. You pay that out of your own pocket. So this is the kind of scheming you got to go along with. Read your contracts that you signed.
He seems like he's resorting back to his own gangster intimidation ways by being assertive with you. But you were federal law enforcement. You stood down the most dangerous people in this country and probably on international. Mary has something else to add, but I will add again. I cannot stress this enough, Stephen. I tried to do legitimate business with you, have you on my show, maybe come on your show. I got hit with arrogance, an outrageous charge to come on your show when I have tens of millions of fans and you don't. So I just don't understand it, man. I'm hoping you get your journey post-incarceration right and start helping people rather than allegedly screwing them over. So Mary has something else to add because you're giving guys like me who are trying to turn their life around a bad name.
All right, let me put one more thing up here. Now, this isn't entirely up to date, but I will say this. The first company, Diversity City Entertainment, which Stephen and Daphne jointly own, it says active. That's another company that they are in the process of having voluntarily dissolved. So another
Jeez.
cut and run from
What's the
who
name?
we owe,
What's the name of
Diversity
this one?
City Entertainment. The second one, Libra Sounds Limited, that's already been dissolved. And you see how, okay, for example,
That's racketeering
the
in this country
appointed
all day long.
status, Stephen Gillen's appointed to Diversity City January 4th, 2023. Roar Media Creative, he's listed as media, PR, and business consultant director, December 30th, 2020. And again, although these all, 2 out of the 3 say active, the middle one is formally dissolved. The other 2 are in the process of being dissolved, although it seems that there has been, formal objections filed against this, most likely from creditors. I don't know if these crooks, I'll say it, you all are crooks. Come get me, please, or send me to England. I know my way around really, really well. And, forensic accountants are very fierce people. And, Stephen, if you have amnesia, this is from me, Mary Bass, marybass.com. If you have amnesia and you cannot locate the money that you owe to people like Ignacio, I will help you find it because I find every cent, which is, why I'm both loved and hated.
Listen, we've gone after billionaires on this channel, and there's another one.
Do the right thing, Stephen. Do the right thing.
Do the right thing. Like I said, I resent it because Ignacio is my friend. He's a really good guy. Incredible story. Even History Channel picked him up, but you don't see the value in working legitimately with him. And then you shut down one company after another. We don't know your real reason why, but in this country, it could be seen as racketeering.
Wire fraud, racketeering, money laundering. There's a host of things, conspiracies involved in here that potentially could happen, but keep it simple. I gave you an option, Stephen. Give me half of it back. You provide me the rider. Okay. Give me half of the money back. But now it's getting nasty and personal because when I don't take well to be blown off like this, and I have a platform, I can write well. I can even take this to a different level. So I would suggest you return the money.
So Ignacio's saying nothing that's not in his legal pleadings. This is nothing inappropriate. He's just tired of staying quiet about it and wants to alert other potential victims to come forward. And we are reaching out right now. I wasn't going to say this publicly, but to not only Scotland Yard, but also to Interpol. And also we are going to try to dig up the objectors and other victims and start doing a series of shows about Stephen Gillen post-incarceration, who was the darling of the UK and British media. And they are starting to see a whole nother side of him as well. We hope your transformation and your new life is complete. Stop giving guys like us a bad name.
Is Stephen, is he someone who's rehabilitated, or is he still back to his old Stephen ways? That's the question here. From violent crime to white collar crime, nothing changes. It's a scam. That's the face. Someone concerned, I'm not sure. I think what I've experienced is not good, and I would definitely suggest people, if you're thinking about doing business with them, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't
There's not going to be any more company to do business with until he launches his next one.
Right, and then don't do it.
This story is crime prevention, and the opinions of those of my guests supported by copious evidence, documentation, and legal pleadings.
Yep.
Documents with your name on them, Stephen, and we're digging now. So we've been digging for a while, as a matter of fact. We didn't just decide to come on this last minute. This is long due. We have numerous other true crime guys that are going to start covering this story for Ignacio as well. And
thank you, Bill.
Yep. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining us. This is dedicated. We exposed the scammers. We've gone after 2 billionaires. I'm not going to say whether there's another one in our sights or not, because people owe money. They don't want to pay the money. People take advantage of others who are desperate in dire straits, have been to prison. And so you have Diddy, you have Epstein, you have this one, you have that one. I only fear the man upstairs at this point in my life. So you want to come after me for telling the truth, do it. I'm well covered. So
and if you're producers, legitimate producers who are interested in our work, Bill, myself work, please reach out to me at Facebook or on LinkedIn. Ignacio Esteban there, and I'd be more happy. Like I said, did other drafts also, screenplays based on my life. I think there'll be excellent TV series or even a movie. Just reach out to me and we can do some good work together.
That's right. And he's been my co-host over 2 years. He's got this deal with History Channel. Here's just one of my books. So links are in the description for our books. Everybody, we wish you nothing but the best. Happy holiday.
Happy holidays, everybody.
I know Sean Atwood very well. I've been on the show a few times, millions of views over there. Shout out to Samantha Markle, her sister Megan. My best friend, one of them, is Peter Tickton, Samantha's attorney, who also happens to be 68 years friendship with Donald Trump. And we just interviewed Peter in his office, and he's a dear friend. And we're supposed to be going up to Mar-a-Lago here soon to spend some time with Trump and his family. So you have really, really dug a hole for yourself. And we hope you get out of it. We hope you turn your life around. And from my point of view as a man of faith, I'll pray for you. And please stop giving guys like us with a turnaround story a bad name. We want nothing but success for you, but do it the right way.
Yes. Okay. Well said. All right, Bill. Thank you. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas and God bless. By the way, what did Tiny Tim say? May God bless us all, everyone.
I'm William Steele, and if you know me, you know that I don't mince words. Today I'm here to talk about Robert Durst. Yeah, that Durst, the multimillionaire murderer who's had America in a chokehold with his crimes and with his cash. I knew Durst. I knew him well enough to write a book about all the sick shit he's done. It's real life, real pain, real death. Horrific planned murders of other people's loved ones, one after the other. I wrote Sex and the Serial Killer, not just as a tell-all expose about the wealthiest serial killer in American history. It was a call to see the beast behind the banter. Durst played us all with his demeanor and his dollars. To those of us who saw the monster up close and personal, we carry a different story. We owe it to the victims and to the truth.
I tell the whole truth. Nobody tells the whole truth.
Very telling it, Bob said. He said, all my life, I've had more money than I could spend, and it didn't make me happy.
She talked on the telephone with her husband, then she vanished, and no one has seen Kathleen Durst since.
Durst was wanted for murder in Texas. He's a suspect for murders in Los Angeles and Westchester County, New York.
He belongs to one of the richest families in New York City.
Crazy. He's diabolical.
I believed him from the very beginning.
Mr. Durst?
I tell the whole truth. Nobody tells the whole truth.
I wrote Sex and the Serial Killer, not just as a tell-all expose about the wealthiest serial killer in American history. So all these crimes that he committed and admitted to and were recorded in my house in Brooklyn and in ritzy Manalapan, Florida, which is adjoining Palm Beach, are well documented in my book.